watching the news, the headlines, or just looking out of the window, every one of us understands that we need a change. Despite of all efforts that we had, like revolutions and protests, we didn't achieve the goal that we wanted, to live prosperly and happily life. And today, standing on the brink of the global challenges, of the global scale, the challenges, we need a change that will bring us forward, the change that will secure our life, our future, and open new prospects for our civilization. Welcome, dear friends, to the international discussion on Creative Society TV channel. Today, we want to talk about the worldwide event that opened up the eyes of people to the shocking conditions of our society. And it gave actually the impulse for many, many people around the world to the even bigger unification in finding the way out of this global crisis and building the society that will have a future, the creative society.
On May 7th, the International Forum Global Crisis, We Are People, We Want to Live took place, which was organized by volunteers from 180 countries and was translated into 100 languages. Today we have guests with us who have not only watched the forum, but are ready to act to stand for a better world and to share this information with others. Everyone understands that we now live in a world in which no one feels safe, in a world in which we are scared about our children's, about our future and their future. And what is to be done? You will ask yourself. If you haven't found the answer yet, stay with us, please, because today we're gonna talk about the way out, about the solution.
And I would like to introduce our esteemed guest, Fatima Akhdar, from Lebanon. She's a student at the translations at IUL Islamic University in Lebanon. Hi, Fatima.
Hi, I'm glad to be here with you, and thank you so much.
Yeah, Fatima was also a translator, the interpreter, gave her voice to the recent conferences of Creative Society and the last forum, Global Crisis, We Are People Who Want to Live, and we are very, very happy to have you here with us today. And we have also Ondrej Vida from Slovakia, who is a value engineer. Hi, hello, Ondrej.
Hello, everybody. Nice to meet you. Nice to be with you here today. Really happy about it.
Yeah, the pleasure is ours. And I would like to start with the first question, Fatima. So you proceeded actually in the whole forum through yourself, like giving the voice, thinking about this information. What was the topic that touched you the most, or the information that impressed you the most? Could you please share your thoughts about it?
First, the forum opened my eyes of many different types of crises. We sometimes forget how monstrous the world we're living in is. And that was a reminder, the forum was a reminder for me that we should never forget our responsibilities. We should always fight for our rights, and that every person have the right to eat, to drink water, to have electricity, to have a shelter. I know it's a tragic to fight for us to survive, but this was how's things going. So we should try to fight for our rights. And we lived in years of suffering and pain, and I think it's the time to wake up and to be more strong, to know what's happening around us. First, I knew that the climate is affecting our world, but I wasn't really into the details. So when I watched the forum, I knew that climate was one of the most important things that we should care about. Other topics that I was interested in is a topic that was slightly introduced in the conference, which is the domestic violence. I see every day a story around me about domestic violence, and the government, the courts don't really care about it. But I know that people are suffering more. Another thing, the politics, like people are brainwashed, they are walking behind the politicians blindly, they giving them their life decisions. And on the other hand, the politicians doesn't really care about our life more than power and money. And they, as the forum mentioned, they are never enough. They always want wealth. They always want power. So we, as humans together, we should understand that our life decisions must not be given to a human that is not responsible and he doesn't really care about us. And another thing was, I guess, the education field and spending money on medical support and tools to stop the fire disaster. Because in Lebanon, after I don't know if you knew about it, the Beirut port explosion. It was on August 4, 2020. And till now, no one really started investigating about that. It's like 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate were exploded and they killed 217 people. They injured 7,000 people. And there was a wide destruction and devastation of the building. And who started investigating to bring justice back? No one. And who reconstructed the buildings? Till now, no one. It's been 2.5 years approximately, and everything's still the same. And a fire disaster also happened for a couple of forests in Lebanon, and there were no tools or a good support to rescue people and to rebuild the buildings and to reconstruct them, or even to turn the fire off. Yeah, so these topics were the most catching to me because I see these stories beside me, and I know that I should know more about what's the other countries suffering. Now I have my house, my family, my studies, but I don't know tomorrow what will happen to me. So I don't wish anyone to be in this situation. So I believe that we should start working on spreading much information about these things.
Yes, definitely. And thank you very much for sharing your insights on so many topics. And of course, this last one, really touching very, very deeply, because we also observe how much every day is happening across the globe, and we get used to it. I mean, in the last few weeks, we heard about terror attacks and shootings in the USA. We had just a few days ago these events in Berlin, and this is something that we don't have to be, to get used to, and this is not normal. Starting with very manifestation of violence that our society is just really in all the spheres is just contaminated with this violence, that it's really regarded as something normal. And this is so important to talk about the solutions and the society where such crimes, where violence will be just not possible. And this is the creative society. Thank you very much, Fatima.
Yes, thank you also from my side. Thank you for seeing the whole picture, for caring about what is happening around you, about your compassion, and about this feeling of responsibility. of this world in which we live. Thank you very much. We would also like to ask Ondrej about the forum. Would you like to share your understandings with us that you got after watching the forum?
Yeah, thank you. So, well, obviously it was an unbelievable event. For me, it was very informative. It was also sort of motivating, but maybe from some point of view, for some people, also a little scary, because there were really serious topics discussed, presented. We saw a lot of videos. We saw a lot of materials and people talking about very serious events, very serious problems, issues which are happening now in the world. And what I found really special about this forum is that it was aimed at saying the truth, like the real thing, like what's really happening, what people go through, be it in conflicts, be it in some countries where big issues are with food. And I think this is really special in today's world. Like, this is pretty rare that people, like anybody really, wants to show the truth, like without trying to make things look better as they are. Because I mean, in everyday life, in the job, in companies, everywhere, from my perspective, people always try to make things look a bit better as they are, and nobody really wants to look in the eyes the truth. And so I really liked it. I really liked the way the things were discussed, the things were presented, because I felt a lot of I would say a direct way of communication. No one trying to pretend something. It was really honest, and I think this is the way this is the sort of information which really opens the eyes of a lot of people. It was also the situation for me. Maybe what I would say is the sort of perspective, because when you see, or when I read some articles or see some information, for example, online or somewhere, like, we are sort of, I would say, used to it, partly because these issues which were also discussed in the forum, maybe not all of them, but part of them are not new. Like, we know that people are suffering in some parts of the world. We know that there are wars. We know that there is hunger. Like, these issues are not new. Like, the civilization actually have it, like, through thousands of years, hundreds of years. We have this. But the perspective of seeing people, like, honestly talk on camera about it and really share it from the point of view of normal people, like we are. I think it's a bit different than a well-constructed documentary which only tries to sell us some part of it.
Yes, and this is so important that it showed the holistic picture, that it took more than 11 hours to show this amount of information.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And, I also very liked your comparison. Like, I have, this metaphor where we have a building with completely destroying basement that really almost falls apart. But instead of really thinking of how to move in a new house, that we needed to build a new house and timely just to move out, instead of it, we try to cosmetically renovate some parts, like little pieces, just to make it look beautiful, where the house is completely destroying and falling apart. So this is actually the metaphor that we live in a world that is falling apart just under our feet, and we pretend not to see it because we think that it's normal, but it's not. And the forum showed that we people worldwide are ready, that this is our voice. We are ready to move forward to a better future, and we are ready to take this responsibility to make everything possible that depends on us, people, to create it together.
And also to see the dimension of the things that are happening is also a big motivation for us, to feel that now it's so urgent to act and to spread this information, to unite. And after watching the forum, people write sometimes that, yes, we all would like to live in a creative society, but where will we take the money from for its implementation? Well, actually, there is enough money. It's just unfairly distributed, as we know, as we feel. So let us watch a fragment of the forum video.
Did you know that almost all of the planet's resources are concentrated in the hands of a small group of people? Today, only 1% of people own more wealth than the rest 99% of the world's population. And the trend is that this world's wealth is flowing into the hands of this 1% at a great speed. Since 2020, the wealth of the world's 10 richest men has more than doubled. Their wealth during the pandemic increased at a rate of $15,000 per second, or $1.3 billion a day. Meanwhile, the vast majority of the population was only becoming poorer. The number of beggars living on less than $2 a day has increased by 160 million. According to WHO, every day, more than 25,000 people die of hunger, and more than 5,000 die of lack of water and unsanitary conditions. At the same time, 1% of people who own the world's corporations, banks, and stock exchanges have a tremendous amount of money on their accounts as a debt load, which would be enough to solve not only the problems of hunger, lack of water and food, but all the material problems of humankind in general. Why did this happen? And why is the situation only getting worse every year? The reason is a consumerist format of our economy, which is based on unlimited accumulation of private wealth or capitals. The world economy is growing due to the growth of huge corporations owned by individuals in our world. These global corporations become like monopolies, killing and taking over national small and medium-sized businesses. And the more capital is in their hands of a few, the faster they get richer, and the faster billions of people are becoming poorer. Growing like a huge octopus, world corporations and their owners influence national governments. They lobby their interests, promoting their business, getting cheap labor, buying up natural resources for peanuts, and destroying the environment. We as a society have long had no control over what is going on. Even governments are no longer in control, falling under the power of interests of a few. Poverty, hunger, and inequality are not the worst of what this unlimited enrichment leads to. By getting unlimited wealth in their hands, they gain unlimited power. This becomes the cause of military conflicts. After all, wars are not started by ordinary people. The cause of wars is a competition of big capitals for spheres of influence, resources, and markets. World military expenditures over the last 20 years amounted to $35.5 trillion. While millions of us die in these wars, the few simply earn huge capital on that. In the consumerist format, wars have always been and remain a profitable business. This format is so inhumane that human lives have become just a means to make money. It's just business, nothing personal. And each of us understands that this is not normal. It is monstrous. No one wants to live in a world where their life is worthless, where there is no stability and security. where we have to survive but not live. Today, we're all hostages to the conditions of the consumerist format because we are all divided, silent, and inactive. In order to change this, it is necessary to change the format itself, that is, to build a creative society. A society where the life of every human and the provision of their needs come first rather than the interests of the 1% of people. However, we can only build creative society if we unite. And our key step to change this inhumane economic system is to limit wealth. That is, we will set wealth thresholds. And as the entire society, we will determine that limit. This will make the endless race for enrichment pointless. This will bring the economy back to its normal purpose of providing everyone with decent incomes and all the necessary goods and services anywhere in the world. Limitation of wealth will help us to redirect funds which are now kept in the accounts of a few individuals towards solving real problems of humanity and development of society. This does not mean that if a person has earned a certain amount of money, he no longer has the right to work. He has. But the super profits will be allocated to the needs of society. It will be prestigious to benefit society by developing one's own business, directing super incomes into the development of urban infrastructure, education projects, healthcare, technology, and science. By limiting wealth, we protect ourselves from usurpation of power, from the influence of corporation on production, finance, mass media, new technologies, as well as other key spheres of society. And this will benefit everyone, ordinary people, entrepreneurs, and even those who now own large capitals. Businessmen will be able to live without fear that some laws might be passed that will destroy their businesses. They will no longer be afraid of their business being taken away by global corporations, and they will simply stop worrying for their lives and the lives of their families. Limitation of wealth will free up funds to help implement the creative society concept.
Yes, the limitation of wealth is a very powerful tool, but one must understand that this is not enough to solve all the problems. This must be clear to everyone because it will work only in the format of creative society where the whole package, the whole part of, the whole package of 8 foundations of creative society are implemented and integrated into constitution of each country. So just imagine, do you think that in the form where the small group of people decide for the majority that they would take care of the distribution of, all the resources and the wealth across the globe? Let's be honest. Let's be honest that the corruption is the course of all countries, no matter how well the country is economically developed. This really doesn't matter. And we saw that no efforts succeeded in eliminating it because the problem is a systematic one. The entire format, this consumerist format of society is a problem. And we are now a part of this problem because we're just observing it and doing nothing. We try to fight the system, but we are in this system already. So we are not blaming anyone. And let's just talk about the evolutionary way to solve this problem and a peaceful change. So just imagine you have the tool for direct participating in decision-making in the society. So this is a kind of direct democracy. So where you see that your vote matters, you see the legislation, you see the proposals that you can, vote for or not vote for, because you are already in this process, you can decide, and you have the tools for controlling, you have the transparency of the money flow. So like you are the equivalent, participant in the society, and this is what we call also the organizing society, self-governing society. So, Fatima, what do you think about such transformation in society and such, new perspective where really each of us, really every person matters in the decision making? So, what do you think of it, of such a format?
I think this will be, as you said, a super powerful solution. And it's also really great because I was wondering minutes ago, like, if someone have about around $1 billion, he probably will just spend all of his life, and this will not be, it will not be like, it will not end, like he will have money. So if he just take a super small amount of his money and help, a poor family or a poor member, this will change everything. Like, if every single wealthy person do this small action that will affect his wealth with nothing, every country will change, every society will change. I believe that I will not go and spend $100 on a meal. I can go, and of course, entertainment is one of every person's life, but I can manage my money just to help others. Like, I never spend that amount of money on things because I just think of poor people and such a things. And I think about politicians and the corrupt people in the government that just have stolen all over the years hundreds of dollars. If less than half of the amount of the money they have stolen will just be used for reconstruction and sending food on poor people and clean water for them to drink, the world will be great. So I believe that our small actions, when we start by ourselves, will lead to a really big thing. And I believe that if I started this action, my brother will be affected, then my mother will be affected, and then my whole family. And from my family, then their friends, then the whole society. So I think we should keep on trying to convince people that they should wake up and start taking an action about things, because if things stay the same, we'll be in a really big disaster.
Yes, that's right. Because the change really begins with us, and we share what we live, we share what we stand for, and this need to be shared in the whole world because we need the majority of people to make this decision. So, Ondrej, I would like to ask you that creative society means that there will be no power between people, a very important thing, which means that we would be responsible for our lives and also are free to determine the conditions of our living. So how do we benefit from that? How do you think it will change your life?
You mean the decision making, or
yes, the format of a creative society? How do you benefit?
The whole format? Okay. Well, it's really a nice question. Of course, there is a lot of views, there is a lot of opinions maybe on this topic. I would just keep it simple and maybe not to talk about like the whole society, but maybe I would like to take some small example, because I think the majority of us are living in some sort of world in the work, in companies, just somewhere. Like it's everywhere. We have this system of hierarchies. We have this system of decision making, where only very small group of people or some individual some people like directors, like some leading managers and people are taking decisions for the whole structures, organizations, companies, which can affect all of the employees, all of the people who are working there. And I mean, like from my personal point of view, I see it almost every day. Like there is this play. Who is the boss, who is the manager, who has to take the decision. And I really think it like works both ways. Like I see, for example, people who know a lot, who know enough to make the decision, or maybe not to make the decision themselves, like alone, but to influence the decision-making process so significantly. But because of the system, they don't have this responsibility, and they just say, "No, thank you. It's not my responsibility. I'm not the manager. I don't get the money. Like you make the decision. I don't care." And they don't bring their knowledge to this decision-making process. And it can be that there will be a wrong decision taken by the managers, by the people who are responsible, because they rely, of course, on the information which they get from other people. So, like, I see this really often. On the other side, of course, there are people who are really willing to share the information, who are willing to join the decision-making process, but they are not allowed because they are not on the right positions. They are not allowed to the meetings where these topics are discussed, because it's only high management meeting and stuff like that. So, like, it's really like a big play, like a big playground. There is a huge amount of money involved, not only in politics, but in company, in production sites, in like everywhere in society. It's millions of euros, dollars, whatever, hundreds of millions, and this structure is built from the bottom up everywhere. So it's really then it really makes sense that every one of us has some influence on it, because everybody lives in that. So it's not only happening somewhere far away from us. Like, we live every day in this system where decisions are made, maybe good ones, maybe wrong ones, but only by a small group of people. And the majority of people who are maybe really important and would like to share, or would like to decide, or would like to just like be part of the decision, they are not allowed to. So I think in creative society, this is just a thing which also brings a lot of motivation when you let people, like we know this, and some companies try to encourage people, try to give them opportunities to do this, to be part of the decision, and I think it works. Like, we know it works, but yeah. So that would be my take on it, and I think this would change everything, because when you are part of something, when you are allowed to, when you can be part of the decisions, when you can be part of something good or something profitable, I think people would be motivated to do more, to care more, and to build the world in a better way. Just, I think it really can happen, and yeah.
Yes,
that will be my take on it.
Thank you very much. And this is not something like imagination or a concept that's nice to have. This is the urgent need to do so. And we have actually already a precedent, the case of Icelandia, and it was also brought up in the forum, the so-called silent revolution, that you are not, you will hardly find the information about it in the news or somewhere. But it was really interesting to learn how people got united and just decided together, okay, what our constitution will look like. How do we want it to be for our own benefits of all of us as citizens? And this is very important also to understand that creative society is, that everyone will benefit of it. So, I mean, the politicians or the people who will, take the responsibility of, implementing the decision that we all make, the entrepreneurs, every really social level of our life, social groups, everyone will benefit because we have a goal, we have the tools, and, we just need to form it to make sure that everyone knows how to do it. How the society, creative society will work. And, throughout our experience, we've learned very well what do not want to have, like what we do not like and what we don't want definitely to have. But when it comes to tell what we want to have, then this picture sometimes is not that clear or not that, formed. And in the forum, many of technologies, for example, were presented to the global community that can really bring us at a new level of living. And there are systems of winning water out of the fog, for example, or, even, from the desert, in the desert right now. And there are vertical farms allowing to grow food even in Arctica. There are 3D organ printers and many, many other technical solutions and innovations that already exist. And, they really can be part of our everyday life. But you cannot tell that, if tomorrow some disease, will hit you, then can you really get the organ you need tomorrow? Like, obviously not, but we really need it. And this is, when it comes to the unification of people, also in spreading of these solutions, informing each other that, hey guys, we already have it. We just need to, unite to talk about it so that we can have it tomorrow. So Fatima, what are your thoughts on it? So what does it need so that everyone will learn about the way out, about these solutions and join us?
I really watched the forum about the organ planting, just read the organ planting. And I have family member that we wash their kidneys 3 times a week. So I believe that this is one of the most important things that people must be aware of, and people must, encourage and start working on it, because it's really essential and it will save the life of hundreds of people around the world. Yes, this is my thought about. You asked me about the organ planting and specifically, or there's any other question?
Yes, I would maybe ask more. So I know that you heard about all the solutions. There were really many technologies that have been, presented at the forum. So what do you think? So many people just don't know; they're not aware about it. So what do you think? Why is it important to, spreading this information so that people who maybe, who already, there are majority of us who really wants the change, a positive change, and they want to be a part of it, but they doubt that it's possible because they think that there are no tools or that it doesn't exist. And when you show them, hey, just look, it already exists. So it's not the future. This is already the present. We just need to make the demand to create it together. So how do you think will it change the perspective on the speed maybe of reaching this goal altogether?
There are many people that think a word may change their mind. So spreading such an information is a great motive for them to start making even small action. I know that we all pass through sometimes that we are desperate and we are hopeless because of what's happening around us. But when this information come and give us hope another time that everything is possible, we should spread more stories about things that were impossible and they became possible when people were together and under the title of humanity, despite their religion, despite where they are from, despite their color. When we start thinking positively in that way and spreading such a thought, people will start changing and people will be affected by such forums and the solutions. I'm one of the people that was affected by the forum because I always hear that you should take an action and you should start helping, you should stand up, and I didn't know how. But when the solutions were given to me, I understood why I should wake up, especially as a youth. Like we should be more awake because this is our future, and we should stop being hopeless, just sitting and thinking when will my life end, or you know. And yeah, this is one of the things I do with them. And yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. So, Ondrej, I would also like to ask you, because, like people nowadays, everybody's fighting for surviving somehow. Even in the Western world, people need to work so hard and they're so busy with themselves that they do not even search for a solution. They don't even have the time, to get active or to look in a different direction or to see what is happening in the whole world, and to see that the nature disasters are getting synchronized, and all the conflicts and all the poverty and all the hardships that are people facing all over the world. So, and it's very difficult to believe in something that you do not know, before. So this is something new. People do not know, but if you share the benefits of the creative society, if we understand them ourselves, and if we share how easy it is to make, a collective decision towards the creative society in which everybody will benefit. So how would you share the benefits with your friends, with your relatives, maybe?
Yeah, so how would I share? Yeah, I think the most easy, or the easiest way, not the easiest way to do, but the easiest way to bring the information is to do it myself, to show people what I do, to show people that I take part in some events, that I was, for example, participating in a forum, that I do discussion or something like this. And because I think it's really hard to persuade people by talking about something. People are pretty, I think it's much easier to show that you do something, and then people can connect and people see, okay, he's doing something. They ask what you do, and then it's much easier way of communication. I think that's the one way how to do it. Of course, obviously it's not the only one, because there is a huge amount of people and we need to inform people, and everybody is on a different level of information, different stage of life and situation. So some people just need maybe a little spark, a little information to see online. Some people maybe need a little more explanation and more information about this, about creative society, about the possibilities we have, and also about the problems we have, because I think that's one of the parts of the whole picture. And really, maybe I would just tell you about myself, because I really can people can connect better with it. Like the issues, how I said at the beginning, some of the issues were discussed on the forum, like hunger, wars, conflicts, and disasters, and this whole tragic stories told from people. I must say, like, honestly, from the time I was a kid, I knew that there are people on this planet who are suffering from hunger. Like, I knew it from, I don't know, a very little age, because you see it in movies, you see it everywhere. Like you know that this is happening. And I think the one really important thing is I never wanted to see it. I never wanted to hear it. I never wanted to see people suffering. I never wanted, like, it's heartbreaking to see people dehydrated. It's heartbreaking to see children on the edge of dying because they don't have food. Like, it's brutal. And I think it's not easy to watch it, and it's not easy to accept that this is actually happening. That's one point, that people maybe avoid this information, some sort of, because it's very uncomfortable to see. Then, of course, there is this point, or there is this idea that I'm living in Europe, I'm lucky enough, I'm safe, and this cannot happen to me. It's of course a tragedy, but I'm not really responsible, and I cannot change anything because there is no solution. That's that sort of attitude which I had a long time, because that was the way, like, people around me were thinking, and I just adapted it. So, but now the situation is different, because when you look at the forum, you see that you are not safe. It doesn't matter where you live. It can happen to all of us. Sorry. Like, natural disasters already happened in Europe in recent time a lot. Like, people were dying, and you see that this idea of being safe somewhere and not really caring about something, that's illusion. So that's one point. And the second point is, of course, there is solution to it, and there is creative society. So I think this combination of understanding the issues and the problems we have, and to understand that nobody is safe in consumers format of society, and in combination with the way we communicate about creative society, that there is a solution, that we can take action, then we can speak about it, inform other people. That this combination is really the factor how to reach out to people, which really people can understand and connect with it. And I think it makes a lot of sense.
Thank you very much. Also, like, we not only can solve the hunger, but we also, can create a nourishing society, a flourishing society, a society in which actually every person, every human being has, like the minimum living standard, and maybe even more. Nobody has to experience this hardships as today. So this complete change of the direction of our development will change. So it will bring us different possibilities, of development, and will lead us to a flourishing society and a flourishing world.
Yes, definitely, because the goal is not to fight against the challenges we have today, but to make sure that we change the conditions, so we make just the reason disappear, because we treat the problem at its roots. And that's why it is so interesting and so important, guys. So thank you very much for being with us today, that you're sharing your understandings, because what I observe, like with each new discussion, with each new conversation with new people, you learn so much. You learn new perspectives, you learn new information. Like we talked before to Fatima about, importance of communicating, in different languages, because we have different amount of information in each country, and we can just all contribute and benefit of this exchange. This is the idea of cooperation with people, with each other, because we have all the one goal. And today, this is a very, very unique format. The moment where we live, we have this technology where we can directly, just within a seconds, share this information. And this is just as easy as that. Just, push the button and send to the friends. And as Ondrej also said, this is what we experience. All the participants of Creative Society. Let me allow just to talk in their names, because this is also my experience, that as soon you share what you do, posting in social networks, your colleagues come and ask you, so, hey, what was it for a discussion? What were you talking about? And you start, really putting this information through you again, in trying to explain how it works and what you understood. And it, brings you to the new questions that you want to learn. And this is actually the global goal, that we need to understand how, our society, the creative society, will work for our own benefits. And there are already wonderful solutions and ideas. So friends, we have amazing opportunity. It is there. Please watch the forum if you didn't before. There is really amazing information. It was a month of work on the international level. Thousands of people were working on it, and share your understanding. So this is the unique moment of us people to build the society we all want to live. Thank you very much.
So if you are also concerned about our future, would like to be a guest of such a discussion, feel free to write us at info@creativesociety.com, and we would be very happy to welcome you as our guest, because this change is only possible if we do unite in one goal of the creative society. Thank you for being with us. Thank you very much, dear guests. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to me.
Thank you. And see you next time on the Creative Society TV channel.